Okay, welcome back to the channel. Today what we're going to be doing is doing a couple of tests. So going to test coffee extraction, tamped, no tamp, and then we're going to do a ripple tamp. So if you're not familiar with what a ripple tamp is, that's what a ripple tamp looks like. We're obviously going to do a flat tamp, and we're going to try not tamping. So I've got pre-dosed 6 shots, 22.4 grams of coffee for each one. So I'll start with the 2 tamped ones, 2 non-tamped, then the 2 ripple tamped. We'll set a shot off to the side for us to TDS a bit later on, and then we'll see, you know, what's the difference in extraction times and taste and TDS. So let's get started. Yeah, if this is your first time to the channel, please make sure you take the time to subscribe, because it does make a difference for us and helps us grow the channel and bring more content such as this. So if you enjoy it, give us a thumbs up and a subscribe. Now let's get started. So I've got the DF64V set to 1100 RPM. I always like to crank up the RPMs right at the end, just to force any coffee out. There we go. 24.2, see if we can get any more out. There we go. One bean that didn't seem to get ground out. 22.3. So I'm going to try and work through this as quickly as possible. Now if you're in Australia, this is a new automatic tamper we're about to release to the market. So I've got the tamping pressure to 20 kilos. Okay, so tamped. These are the tamped cups. So running through the San Remo U, and just a standard 9 bar extraction. So we're aiming for about 60 grams of coffee out. While that's doing that, I'll get the next shot ready. So extraction time on that one was 32 seconds. .25. And output was 51.6. So we had 32 and 51.6. Okay, pop one. That'll be for TDSing a bit later on. I'll let that cool a bit before I taste it. This is our second tamped. Okay, it's a bit of acidity up front, followed by some sweetness, but then as it's lingering, bitterness is really kicking in. So it was 31 seconds for this second extraction, and that was 54.3. So 31, 54.3. So pass that to the side, let that cool. Now this blend here is our Omni blend. So our Omni blend is really designed to work with milk. You can enjoy it black, but it's really aimed for milk-based drinks. So I'm not expecting it to wow me when it comes to espresso shots, because that's not what it was designed for. It was designed for, you know, cutting through milk and giving some nice flavour, punching through milk. Okay, so next one. So this one will be no-tamp on this one. So 22.6 on this one, so it's a little bit more. 22.4. So no tamping at all, just distribute it a little bit, lock it in, and see how we go. So the common theory and thought process is untamped, it's going to channel and it's just going to gush out, and because there's no resistance there, so the extraction time should be significantly less than a tamped shot. So question is, how much quicker will a non-tamped shot be than a tamped shot? So are we going 10 seconds, 15 seconds, 20 seconds, 30 seconds, knowing that our tamped shot was at 31 and 32 and 31 seconds respectively. So let's check it out. Okay, that second shot was a lot nicer than the first one. A lot more sweetness. That bitterness isn't kicking in on the back end. Not as bright, so the acidity isn't there like the first one, but a lot more enjoyable than the first shot. So here we are, non-tamped. We've got an extraction time of 30 seconds. Haven't adjusted the grinder, haven't done anything different, same grammage. And we got 55.1. So we've got 30 seconds and 55.1 grams out. Again, I'll park that to the side, so that'll be for our TDSing a bit later on. Okay, the second non-tamped. Let's just make sure we're at the right RPM, 1100. $22.4. Okay, get rid of all the clumps. Again, I'll just distribute a little bit with just my finger, nothing fancy. Lock it in. So that non-tamped one, it's not as sweet as the second tamped one. It's nicer than the first tamped one. Okay, so here we go, 29 seconds for this one. So it's not as sweet as the second tamped one, and I forgot to tear that off, damn it. Okay, we're just gonna have to do 29 seconds. Unfortunately we don't have a weight out because I forgot to tear the cups off. I might just tear these off with it. It won't be 100% accurate, but it will give us a rough idea of where we are weight wise. No, it's not going to give us anything accurate. Okay, so that first non-tamped one, sorry, just had to get rid of that fan, stop that fan. That first tamped one, sorry, the first non-tamped one, not as sweet as the second tamped one, but sweeter than the first tamped one. Bit more bitterness to it compared to the second tamped one, but not as much bitterness as the first tamped shot. So sort of sit in between the two tamped as far as flavour and my preference goes. Okay, so now we'll go with the ripple tamper. Just get that up there. .5 22.4 okay, bit of WD-10, settle a little bit. So if you haven't seen a ripple tamp before, that's what it looks like. That's very similar to the second tamped one. Probably lacking a bit of the sweetness from the second tamped one, but still quite smooth, no bitterness, no sourness kicking in, so there's no negative, no astringency, there's nothing negative coming through, but it's not overly sweet, and it's not a huge acidity or clarity or anything like that. It's a pleasant shot. Body wise, they're all about the same body wise. I wouldn't say one's got a stronger body than the other. Yeah, so that's probably sitting just after the second tamped one. Missed that extraction time, damn it. Okay, I'll have to check back on the footage for the extraction time, but we've got 57.2 grams out. .5 22.4 22.5 Okay, second ripple tamp. That first ripple tamp is by far the smoothest of all the shots so far. A little bit of acidity up front. Body wise picks up a little bit. Sweetness is just there throughout. Nice on the palate afterwards. That's by far the nicest one. Okay, so that was 30 seconds and 54.5. So 30 seconds and 54.5 grams out. Okay, so we'll pop that. That's for TDSing. We'll let that cool a bit before I taste it. Might just give a quick wipe down. The last one. Yeah, very smooth. That's probably better than the previous ripple one. Sweetness is there. Sweetness is definitely there. The acidity is, I'd say, low level of acidity. And clarity. Again, this isn't designed to be consumed as straight up black coffee. It can be, you can drink it as a black coffee, but it's more designed for milk based drinks. Okay, so if I had to rank them as far as personal preference, I'd have to go ripple 1, ripple 2, tamp 2. I think it was non-tamped 2, then non-tamped 1, and then tamped 1. I can't remember. These two might be the other way around. Actually, it's try them now. Yeah, that's the order I'd have them in. A lot more chocolate notes coming out of that one than that one, as it's called. Very distinct chocolate notes in that one. So, for me, for my palate, the way I'd rank them is ripple 2, ripple 1, tamp 2, no tamp 2, no tamp 1, tamp 1. Anyway, I'll pause the video there for now. I'll wait for these other shots to cool, the ones on the side. I'll take some TDS readings and come back and report on those. Okay, we're back. So TDSing's been done, but before I go through the numbers, I'll just cover a couple of things off. The ripple 1, which I forgot to check the extraction time. When I look back at the footage, that's 32 seconds, and the non-tamp 2, I'm estimating its weight at 56 grams based on how non-tamped 1, its weight. So this is just an estimate, just to make it nice and clear from up front. Okay, so tamped 1 was 32 second extraction, 51.6 grams out, had a TDS of 11.1 and extraction yield of 26.5%. Tamp 2 was extraction time 31 seconds, 54.3 grams out, TDS of 10.05, extraction yield of 25.25%. No-tamp 1, extraction time 30 seconds, 55.1 grams out, TDS of 11.11, and extraction yield of 28.32. So the interesting thing here is the tamped one and the no tamped one, their TDS numbers were almost identical. 11.1, 11.11 TDS. Extraction yield is significantly different, 26.5 to 28.32. But TDS wise, tamped, not tamped, very similar numbers. Now, non-tamped 2 had a TDS number of 8.67. Now this is where I think no-tamping has its biggest drawback, which is the variance. You're not going to get consistency when you're not tamping. So we've gone from 11.11 to 8.67, whereas here, tamped, we've gone from 11.1 to 10.05. So the variance is just over 1 on the tamped, but the variance here is 2.5-ish on your TDS reading. So there's a much bigger variance here. Now, so that was 8.67 TDS, extraction yield of 22.46. Now the ripple tamp up the back, so ripple tamp 1, that had a TDS of 8.15 with an extraction yield of 21.57, and ripple tamp 2 was TDS of 9.14, an extraction yield of 23%. So, you know, there is a difference in TDS. There's also a difference in flavor when it comes to the different tamping or non-tamping methods. So we've been using ripple tamp at the cafe for years. We just find we get better flavor out of our coffee with a ripple tamp than we do from a flat tamp. And the way I had ranked them earlier on while they were hot, and it's still the same ranking as they're cooled, I had ripple 1 as my favorite, ripple 2, then tamp 2, then non-tamped 2, then non-tamped 1, and then tamped 1. So flavor wise, for me, for my palate, again, this is subjective. You know, take these results with a grain of salt. These are not scripture. This is just my results for my testing with this coffee in my conditions. I encourage you, if you've got the means to do this test yourself, if you've got a TDS meter and you've got the ability to conduct this experiment, by all means do so, because it does make you rethink a little bit on tamping. It makes you question, you know, some of the preconceived ideas about tamping that are out there. And again, the results here are based for my palate. So, you know, is there a bit of a bias there? Look, maybe there is, but I'd probably say there is a bias there because I like ripple tamping. But that we came to like ripple tamping after extensive testing, and I'm talking about for weeks and weeks and weeks of testing on different coffees. We found ripple tamping to be consistently better flavor profile. Forget about the numbers, forget about TDS, forget about extraction yield. This is purely on flavor. Blind testing over many weeks, over many different coffees, ripple tamp always came up front. Was our preferred cup that we produced. So hope you found this video useful. Hope it's given you something to think about and something that you might want to experiment yourself. If you did like this video, please give us a like, and make sure to subscribe. Your support allows us to keep making these sort of videos. And if you've got any comments, drop them down below. Happy to respond to any comments you may have. So until the next one, I'll see you then. But in the meantime, have a great time and stay caffeinated. Take care.